Happy Sunday, YouTube. This is just going to be a quick request video. I had one of my subscribers request that I do a video of just all my fish stuff. So hopefully this video is interesting to that person who subscribed it and also to some of you as well. I don't know, hopefully. I'll try not to be too long-winded when talking about all this stuff. So first we're going to look at what's underneath my goldfish tank. I have these little storage bins under here to keep stuff a little bit organized, but I'm not super organized. So in this one, we have, this is the heater that I usually use for my goldfish tank. I don't use a heater in the summer because I don't really need it. This is the Aqueon Pro heater. I really like these heaters. I've pretty much switched to exclusively using these. I used to use the Eheim Jaeger or Jaeger, or however you pronounce it, heaters, but I find that these are much more easy to adjust than the Eheims. What else do I have in here? I have a little thermometer. And when I first started fish keeping, I was really concerned about what the tank temperature was for the goldfish. Like in the summer, I would be worried if it was too hot. But at this point, I honestly don't really worry about it, and I don't even use a thermometer anymore. It's not a bad thing to have, but I've just gotten to the point where I don't really worry about it. Seacom Safe. I just did a review on this stuff. It's pretty awesome. Water conditioner. Fishmate F14. This is a auto feeder. I really like this one. I have an Eheim as well, but I really like this one way better, and I'll show you why. Because you can put in exactly how many pellets you want to drop out. With a lot of other fish feeder, it's just a hole and it drops out however many it drops out. And if you're like me and you want to know how much your goldfish are eating, not everyone is as anal retentive as I am, but I like knowing exactly how many pellets they're dropping out. Let's see. Magfox, which was stuck to my scissors. This is a Magfox tubing cleaner. I just did a review on this as well, so check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But this is an awesome little tubing cleaner thingy. I have planting equipment in here. So these are wave scissors. So these are mostly for trimming like substrate plants. Makes it a little bit easier. I have these scissors as well, just standard straight ones. These are actually hair cutting scissors, but they work great for cutting plants that are nice and sharp and last a long time. Planting tongs. I think these are Fluval ones. They work fine. I got them off of Amazon for cheap. What else? This one I have all my food stuff. So I have several bottles of New Life Spectrum right now. I really like this food. I have 3mm pellets and also 1mm pellets. I typically feed the 3mm pellets because I have substrate, and the 1mm pellets are so tiny that they tend to get a little bit lost in my substrate. But generally, the 1mm pellets are best for most goldfish sizes. The 3mm ones are pretty big, but luckily I have big fish, so it doesn't really matter. Where is it? Buff It Up from Goldfish Connection. This is a buffer for your water, so stabilizes pH, raises KH, all that good stuff. I like that. I have really low KH and GH in my water. My KH is like 3 and my GH is 4, I think. So pretty low. Pro Gold. This is a food from Goldfish Connection. This stuff is great as well. Alright, in this big bin down here, I have a lot of my testing supplies. So this is the API Master Test Kit. Comes with pretty much everything that you need. The only addition that I would suggest is a GH and KH test kit, which I also have somewhere in here in this mess. Those are good to have. Oh, stuff is stuck. More testing supplies. I have a copper test kit, not really a necessary thing unless you're treating with a copper medication. I was curious, we had copper pipes at the last place I lived, so I was just wondering if there was copper in our water, but there wasn't. Phosphate test kit. I don't know, I have some CO2 indicator solution, bunch of random just, you know, extra test kits in there and stuff, junk. We won't go through all of that. Kent's liquid calcium. This stuff is great if you have snails. It's good for adding extra calcium to the water for their shells. I used to use it when I had snails, but I do not have snails right now. They all have died. This is all my Seachem fertilizers that I don't use anymore. And actually a lot of them are full. I should probably just use them up, but I don't. Replenish. This is for raising GH. I actually don't use this anymore either because I use a powdered GH booster. Let's see. Flourish Iron. Flourish Excel. More Flourish Excel. Both of these are like pretty much full too. No need for Excel anymore now that I use CO2. Flourish Trace. I don't use these anymore. I have powdered ones that I use at this point. Flourish. Oh, this is the comprehensive one. Again, almost full. Silly. And then the rest of the stuff in here is medications, like all the stuff that I just kind of keep on hand. So I have Metro Meds from Goldfish Connection and Medigold from Goldfish Connection. These are both really good ones to keep on hand if you're going to keep some medications on hand. Metro Meds is probably the most useful. Medigold doesn't get used quite as much. But yeah, these are good to keep on hand because they, you know, if your fish is sick and you need one of these, waiting for shipping time can be kind of a pain, so I like to keep them on hand. I have oxalinic acid. I used this a while back when one of my fish was having some wen issues, problems. Prozi Pro, this treats for flukes. This is a really good thing to have on hand as well. New fish should be treated with Prozi. It comes in a powdered form as well. This is the liquid form that I use. And it treats for flukes. I don't know if I said that. But nitrofurantoin green powder. I have not used this yet, but I keep it on hand. API aquarium salt. This is actually like, I don't know, 3 years old maybe. I bought it when I first started fish keeping, and I don't use it, I just keep it. I kind of kept it thinking I would do a video at some point. But yeah, this stuff is so expensive compared to a grocery store salt. So if you need salt to treat your fish, all you need to do is get a salt from the grocery store that contains no like extra additives or caking agents, and it's exactly the same stuff as this. So, and it's way cheaper. I use the Morton's canning and pickling salt typically. You can buy a big tub for like $2. Net. I don't use this for my fish. I use it for scooping up plant clippings when I've trimmed the tank. Generally, you don't want to use a net for fish if you can avoid it. I use a big Tupperware, scoop them up. It's better on the slime coat and the scales. Carbon packet. I don't use carbon in my filters, but I do keep some around if I ever need it. I rarely ever need it, but it's a good thing to have. That's it for over here, so we'll go into the kitchen and I'll show you my little fish cupboard in the kitchen as well. Alright, so before we go to the kitchen, we're actually going to take a look at my bookshelf, and I'll show you which books I have right now related to fish keeping. Fancy Goldfish. This is by Dr. Eric Johnson and Richard Hess. This is still kind of the gold standard when it comes to fancy goldfish keeping books. So I highly recommend this. It has some really nice pictures in here and useful information. I will do a full review on it at some point. I have Fish Disease Diagnosis and Treatment. This is a pretty heavy read, as you might expect, you know. But it is really interesting and useful if you have sick fish. I have Fundamentals of Ornamental Fish Health. This is by Helen Roberts. This is actually my favorite book. I really, really like this one. It has some really nice information in it, and it's a really, it's pretty technical, but at the same time, it's an easier read than like the Fish Disease and Diagnosis book. So I highly recommend this book. You can get it on Amazon. Again, I'll do a full review on it at some point. And last one I have is Aquarium Plants, and this is by Christelle Castleman, who is definitely a big name in planted aquariums and aquatic plants. So this is a really interesting book. It's you know, lots of information about all the different aquatic plants and pictures and stuff. So this came from Amazon as well. So that's all my fish books. So let's go ahead and look at my kitchen fish cabinet. Alright, so this is just a cupboard in my kitchen that I use for fish stuff. I have all my fertilizer stock solutions in here, so I use dry ferts. I mix them with some water, put them in these 1-liter containers, and then pour from there. So this is just some micros, and you can see I write how many tablespoons I'm supposed to put in to remind myself. They're all 2 tablespoons for the Goldfish Tank. Potassium, phosphate, nitrate. There you go. What else do I have in here? I have my little teaspoon whatever thingies. And I like these too because it says how many milliliters it is as well. I don't know if you can see that, but it says the tablespoons or teaspoons and also how many milliliters that is, which is kind of nice if you're doing liquid. Comes in handy sometimes. This is my Aqueon water changer. Love this thing. This is probably the best thing that I ever bought for fish keeping, quite honestly, besides the tank. I don't think that I would keep fish if I didn't have this thing, quite honestly, because I would not do water changes with buckets. I just wouldn't. It's way too much of work. So this just hooks into the faucet, and tubing runs, you know, big thing of tubing, and the water runs right through. You can suck it out through that. I will do a review on that at some point here. This is my water pump for changing water. So what I do is I use the Aqueon water changer to first vacuum up any debris or whatever, and then I hook up my pump to the Aqueon water changer, and I use the pump to push out the water as opposed to having to run my faucet to suck out the water with the water changer. I think that this is the most efficient way to do it. This is way quicker than using the water changer by itself. So yeah. And it's a pond pump. It's just a plain old pond pump. I think I got it at Petco. You can order them online too. Let's see, what else do I have in here? These are, what are these? Tank dividers. I was using these in my betta tanks before, when I had a divided tank. I don't have a divided tank anymore. Dry ferts. This is a big package that I just got because I was running out of my old ones. Oh, that made a funny noise. I'll show you where I keep my dry ferts. This is how I store my dry ferts. When I take them out of those bags, I just put them in these Tupperware containers and I label what each one is. And then when I'm making my mixes, I just use this. So yeah. This is a bag of potassium permanganate, PP. I use this for disinfecting plants typically. You can use it as a treatment as well, but I never have. I've never needed to. Just for disinfecting plants. Alright, I have this thing. Filter padding. I use this in my filters. I cut it to size. I also use it to clean my glass. You can see I have a bunch of little cut up ones that I've used to clean glass in my tank. Not much else in here. I do have a little scale. This is for weighing food, especially if I'm weighing medication. It goes down very low. I think it goes down to 0.1 grams. I think that's what it is. It actually came from a head shop. It was so hard to find a scale that went down that low, and I ended up getting one that is basically meant to weigh drugs. Yep. I felt kind of funny going in there and being like, I need a scale that goes down to blah blah blah. I'm not selling cocaine. But yeah, that's a handy thing to have, and it was like 10 bucks. Super cheap. I don't know, there's not much else in here. I have these food clips. Seaweed clips, basically. You can clip veggies to it and put them in your tank, and your goldfish will eat it. Lettuce, I usually do spinach, that sort of thing. This is a par meter. Hoppy at planettank.net made this for me. It was cheap compared to a par meter that you buy online, which are usually about $350. This one was about 50 bucks, I think. So this measures the light intensity in your aquarium so that you know how much light you have. It's a very useful thing. I enjoy owning one. I have a bunch of Repashy foods. This is meat pie. That's for my bettas. Solent green. I have a few more packs. These are, I've Spawn and Grow. For once upon a time when I had 2 fry, they didn't survive, but I did use this when I had them. They both died. More Soylent Green, more of that. Super Green too. Repashy is great. I really highly recommend that. This is the GH booster that I'm using instead of the Replenish. This is from Greenleaf Aquariums. What else? I have koi clay. I actually don't use this anymore. I probably should again. I have so much of it. But I used to use this a lot, both in the tank and when I was making my own gel food. I would add this to the gel food. Fluval kit. I hate this thing. It works, but it's so expensive to buy those stupid refills. These are the refills. I still have some left. I'm so happy that I switched to an actual regulator and all that good stuff, because these things are a pain in the butt. I don't recommend them. They work, but it's just not worth it in the long run. You might as well save up for a decent regulator. That's it in here. Nothing else exciting. This is just an empty box. So that's pretty much all my fish stuff. I have a big box down in the basement as well that has like all my extra filters and airline tubing and like suction cups and parts and pieces that you never ever use. So I'm not gonna bother to show you guys that, but do know I have a whole nother box down in the basement. I also have some extra tanks down in the basement. So yeah, I have all sorts of fish stuff everywhere, but this is the stuff that I use the most. So I hope this video was interesting to someone. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I hope I didn't talk too much, because I tend to do that, I know. Thank you guys for watching. Please come follow me on Instagram. I'm Green Mountain Goldfish with little underscores under it. Also visit me on Facebook at Green Mountain Goldfish, and please come visit me at Coco's Goldfish Forum. Thank you guys for watching. Comment below if you have any comments. I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching.